Welcome everybody. I'm your host, R. Christian Minson, Facebook Live Friday Breathwork Edition. Here talking to you today about Is Peace Possible? I am a former director of the Breathwork program at Rhythmia Life Advancement Center in Guanacaste, Costa Rica, former monk of 10 years, living a powerful spiritual lifestyle. I currently am a certified transformational breath facilitator, senior trainer with the Transformational Breath Foundation for the last 13 years. I'm a speaker, author, internet coach, and ultimately your catalyst for awakening and transformation towards a life of greater fulfillment and ideally greater peace. So welcome. Today we're talking about Is Peace Possible? Looking at peace, what is it, and how to find it. This is such a relevant topic right now because there is lots of turbulence in the world, right? We've got a lot of upheaval going on. This whole COVID-19 thing seems to linger on, throwing us out of sorts. We've got police brutality happening in Minneapolis. We've got violent riots and protests going on. We could say the world is really in a chaotic state right now. But I want to ask you, when hasn't the world been in a chaotic state? I mean, you know, if it's not this, it's a war in Syria. If it's not that, it's some nuclear radiation leaking somewhere. You know, the world is a chaotic place. And the thing is, if you buy into the outer circumstances of life too much, it's going to take you on a roller coaster ride that's going to be very uncomfortable. Let's put it that way. So we're looking at how we can minimize that discomfort, how we can bring peace to our lives and ideally perhaps to the world. And let's see. All right, so just looking in here real quick. I've got a poll out there. If anybody joins on, answer the poll. What would be a better Facebook Live day other than Friday? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday is the best for you. Please answer on that poll. Let's see if it's telling me. It doesn't tell me right now. Okay, I got it. Wednesday and Thursday so far. One comment each. I was hoping more people would be on to get those results in. So, what is peace? Peace, when we really look at it, it's really an inner game rather than an outer game. Peace is the ability to, as Paramahansa Yogananda, my spiritual teacher right back here, would say, to be able to stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. And, if that statement isn't as relevant now as when he said it some half a century ago or more, probably 70 years ago now, to stand unshaken amidst the crash of breaking worlds. The world is breaking, falling, crashing all around us. And yet we need to find that inner resilience to go ahead and move forward and make the best of it. I like to bring about a reminder of the world. The world is duality. Duality means opposites exist. I love the symbol of the yin-yang. Everybody know that symbol? Circle with a half little fishy curve in black, the other half in white, and within that black is a little white circle, and within the white is a little black circle. This is really the greatest symbol to really sum up the nature of the whole, the one. The whole can't exist without the two separate parts. In this world of duality, there's both light and dark. If you have only light, you no longer have the whole there. So the light has to exist in tandem with the dark, and ideally in harmony. And so this is what we really want to remember, that when we're reflecting on is peace possible in this world, The world is always going to be an interplay of light and dark. And so, on some level, perhaps there's always going to be some kind of conflict going on. Remember, conflict really at its core is a thrust of life to push us into greater and greater dimensions of evolution. So conflict isn't necessarily bad, but of course, when lives get taken, when we're brutalized, or power is misused, then we've got some kind of problem. So so we want to remember this yin yang symbol. Now the whole, is the whole of creation, and really all of creation is just a reflection of you. Everything in the external environment is really just a reflection of what's going on within your internal environment. And right now I would say, look at it. When things, how this recent wave of chaotic protests and things erupted, it's because, for weeks, months, basically, we've been in a state of confusion, a state of chaos. And that vibration of all of us has come to a head, and then, is manifested in, unfortunately, a tragic event in Minneapolis, and now, waves of chaotic turbulence that results. So this is all a reflection of the chaos that's going on inside. We're all in an uncertain place. We don't know what's going to happen next. We've never been in this sort of situation where we've had to limit our freedoms because of an illness spreading around and such. So there's a lot of that going on. Recognize, too, that the world is not your home. This planet is not your home. And what do I mean by that? We are, as I like to say, quoting, I don't know who came up with the quote first, but we are spiritual beings having a physical experience, not physical beings sometimes jumping into the realm of spirit. Spirit beings having a physical experience. That means this physical world is not our home. It's like our vacation place or our school. It really is more like a school, isn't it? Boarding school. We go to boarding school from the great beyond, wherever we truly live, out there in the regions of the universe. We come here to go to school, to learn our lessons, to try to evolve, and then leave again. So this place is not our home. This is not the be-all and end-all of our existence. So it is the place of duality. It's a field of conflicting ideas. As the one manifested into the many, there is as many interpretations and as many perspectives as there are people in the world, and maybe even more than people, as many beings as there are in the world. So, just recognize that, again, here in the world, it's a reflection of you and me. And as long as we're in internal conflict, there will be outer conflict in this field, in this world. All right. So really then, how do we get to peace? How do we cultivate peace so that it ripples out? And once again, reminding us that this is primarily inner work. All right. As Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you want to see in the world. As Paramahansa Yogananda said, change yourself and you'll change thousands. And then I love this quote by Albert Einstein: peace begins with a smile. And, think about that for a minute. Peace begins with a smile. Now, this isn't a Pollyanna statement. This isn't saying, hey, we can solve everything just by smiling. But think about how powerful it is. If you wake up in the morning, you're kind of grumpy, how that vibration just spills out into your outer environment. Again, the outer environment reflects back your inner state. But if you can start with a smile, you can get up and say, hey, the possibility of this day is a good one, and I'm going to smile. Then you've started in motion the possibility for peace. There's still work to do, but you've started in motion. That peace isn't possible if you're not smiling, if you're grumpy, if you're agitated, if you're angry. There isn't even the possibility to begin to work towards peace. So starting with that smile, all right, and I love smile more than anything. One of the greatest tools to shift our state. Think about this. What kind of feelings come to you when you smile? Invariably, every time you smile, every time your muscles in your face do their contractions, its movements, in order to create this upward grin, it brings about a wave of feeling good. And this is what we call kinesthetic anchoring. We're anchoring in. When we have a powerful experience, a lot of times I'll coach people to anchor that experience in kinesthetically, to have some movement, to have some to have something that will jog you back into that state. So think about it. When we smile authentically, when somebody makes you smile, it brings about waves of good feeling, waves of peace. And so to reverse engineer this, when you're not feeling good, to actually take a smile and then feel, that triggers in the background of your mind and consciousness this wave of good feeling. So this is where we want to start. Now, again, remember that the world is not your home. So we can work to change things, but ideally, and we should work to change things as best we can in this planet to the degree we think is necessary. But remember, the true work is to get back home, to remember your true soul nature, to return to that state of living in oneness, in your true home of oneness, okay? So you have, realize where you have the immediate power to change and work on that, okay? And so where is your immediate power? Right within you, and then right in your immediate environment, okay? So where we have the power to wield the most influence is where we have direct connections. Right? Now, some of us have connections on greater and greater levels. If you got political connections, if you got connections with the police force, connections with lawmakers, these kind of things, we want to use those connections, that power. But realize where you have the immediate power, and that is primarily within you and your immediate environment. So one of the greatest ways to cultivate peace in yourself and in the world is to practice the expression of unconditional love. And why is this? Love is really the vibration, the vibrational frequency of the universe. Love is the essence of God. Love is our essential nature then. And we want to return to our essential nature as love by the practice of expressing love anywhere and everywhere we can. The ideal of unconditional love is to be able to express love in every moment, in every situation, with everyone you meet. So this starts, of course, with you, then with your family, then with your friends, then strangers, then ultimately those that you're in conflict with. Can you imagine expressing unconditional love with those you're in conflict with? I think I've said this before on the Facebook Live, but when I think of who I'm in conflict with, I think of Dick Cheney. He's pretty much the representation of everything dark to me. And, my practice is to love that darkness as much as loving myself and loving those who love me. We might look at now the Minneapolis police, or those who are brutalizing people as those that we're in conflict with. But if we are going to make peace in this world, we cannot. We no longer can live an eye for an eye. I mean, the police kills one of us innocent citizens. We go out there and kill one of the police. That just doesn't bring peace. If anything, it's like war doesn't beget peace, right? War only creates more war. A war may defeat a nation or a people for some period of time, but those people, I guarantee it, are not defeated inside. They are just waiting for a chance, some way to be able to get back, get revenge, reclaim their sovereignty. And so, war can create a temporary, what we might call stability, but there's a festering inside, and eventually it will erupt again. Okay, so practicing unconditional love, starting with those that are most close to you, your family, your friends, then the strangers in your neighborhood, then those you're in conflict with. All right. Now it's important. One of the deep, what I'd say, principles of attaining inner peace and creating peace, not only in yourself but in your environment around you and in the world around you, is to clear out the things that are agitating you, the energies that cause agitation in your system. These are primarily old traumas, old unsettled experiences, unintegrated things where you haven't fully handled the emotions and the experiences, brought them ultimately to completion or integration, as we like to say. This energy and old ways of thinking, old prejudices, old ways we've been taught to think, and ways we just inherently think because we've been taught, but are not not in alignment with peaceful, harmonious living, or giving everybody a chance to be equal. All right, so why is this important? Well, imagine, for instance, these energies that are agitating you. Imagine that energy is like a headache, and oftentimes they'll manifest as like a headache or aches in your body, backache or what have you. Imagine you're experiencing this headache all day long, and just reflect, how does that affect the way that you interact with the world? Are you able to be as cheerful and joyful as are you able to give the benefit of the doubt? If somebody says something or does something that agitates you, are you able to receive it and then respond to it? Or does that headache, that agitation, make you short-tempered and you immediately react as a result of their energy coming at you? So this is what's going on with most, if not all of us, to greater or lesser degrees. We've got all of this unintegrated energy within us, and that energy is agitating us on the inside. So then when something on the outside agitates us, we bring forth all that agitation rather than being able to, if it's cleared, if it's gone, somebody meets us in a conflicting sort of way, we can take a breath, we can stand in this clear field and figure out the best way to handle the situation, the best way to deal with that person, honoring their sovereignty, but at the same time not taking their crap, right? So but it's very difficult when we've got all this agitated energy within us. And so some of the ways to to clear this energy is one, practice right behavior. Now, this is behavior that's in alignment with your soul needs. All right, alignment behavior that's bringing you back to acting, thinking, and dwelling in your essential nature. Your essential nature as the one, as the universal energy, ultimately as love, right? As we were saying earlier. So this doesn't mean behavior that gratifies your ego or gratifies your desires. Though, there's some desires that are innocuous enough, but the right behavior is bringing you back to your soul nature, where you're anchored in peace. You're anchored in universal love for everyone. So no matter what somebody does to you, there is a space for you to forgive, to handle the situation in an appropriate and peaceful manner. If you're not in that place, again, you're in a place of agitation, and that agitation inside you is going to reflect outside, and eventually it's going to come back to meet you. So in this way, right behavior, see and act in a way as well that what you're doing is in some way benefiting others. Okay, so if we're always working to be benefiting others as well as ourselves within the course of our actions, we will all of a sudden develop a new relationship with others and be able to act more harmoniously when they do tick us off or agitate us in some kind of way. Right. Another way to help release this agitating energy is cultivate calmness. We cultivate calmness because, think about it again, your vibration is either amplifying or nullifying the outer chaos. If you're in an agitated state, if you're in chaos, then your chaos is going out there, and the wave of chaos is like this. Now you've added to it, and now it's even greater. Greater and greater waves of chaos, the more we add chaos to it. However, if you're able to be in a calm, fairly neutral state of peace, that energy is going to hit the waves of chaos and neutralize it. So the chaos then becomes less and less. And the more that we can do this, the better off the world is. Some of the spiritual masters say, fortunately for us, that it only takes a small percentage of people to act rightly, to meditate, to cultivate inner peace and calmness, to affect the larger portion of the world to actually change and shift. And so it all begins with you, and it all begins with you cultivating that inner calmness. The other thing, let's see, but chaos is running this country. Again, yes, chaos is running the country, and so how are we going to deal with that? Are we going to, is creating more chaos going to alleviate the chaos running the country? No. So, the country is this one bubble of relationship. But that bubble is really a reflection on, what's going on at a more local level, let's say our state level. What's going on there is more what is a reflection of what's going on at our community level. What's going on in the community is really a reflection of what's going on at the family unit, and what's going on in the family unit is really a reflection of what's going on within you. So, yes, we'd like to change the chaos that's running the country, and what I'm saying here is that the most powerful steps we can take is to change the chaos within us, and it is a downward spiral if we continue to add to the chaos. Chaos is going down, we add more, it goes down further, we add more, it goes down further. If chaos is swirling and we add peace, we can start to neutralize that swirl, start to go in the other direction, and even make it an upward spiral. Once again, look at the history of the world. The world has definitely been in more chaotic times than we are currently. All right. These may be the most chaotic times many of us have lived in. And so this seems like the end of the world in many different ways. But if we just look back in history, time and time again, the world has come close to an end. And somehow we've made it out of it. So that's not to say, so we can say that we've gotten out of that chaos. Has it completely dissolved? Perhaps not. Many of these things, came to a balance and equilibrium, but that energy is still swirling there. And this reflects on my point that I made in the beginning, that the world is not our home. The world is a place of duality where there's always darkness and light going on. Until the cycle of life dissolves us all and brings it all back into the one, we are here in this dualistic state. So it really is a lot about how you focus. If you want to focus on the chaos, if you want to focus on what's going wrong and all that, that's what you'll see all around you. There's plenty of things to say the world is really going down, the toilet. However, if you look at, there's equally as much good news out there as there is bad news. And the unfortunate thing is the news, the actual reporters and all that don't thrive on presenting us the bad news. And unfortunately, that's our fault to a large degree, because we get excited by bad news. Bad news agitates us. We get in our ego state. We get energized by that agitation in some way. We get glued to the television. Our adrenaline starts pumping. So again, if you want to stop the chaos in the world, stop buying into news that is only negative, right? Like, demand positive news and create positive news. Seek out positive news. It's out there, even if it's not in the main news channels. Okay, so, once again, it really comes down to the fact that this agitation lies within us. And as the outer world starts to be agitated and chaotic, if we're not vigilant and cautious about what's going on, we can let that chaos stir up the chaos inside us even more, and we can feel hopeless. We can feel angry. We can feel self-righteous. We can feel like, an eye for an eye, and if I can't change things, at least I'll get revenge, and that's that is the downward spiral. So we've got to stop the downward spiral by stopping it within ourselves, by clearing out these old traumas, by clearing out these old stale ideas of how the world operates and the hierarchy of people and old prejudices and stuff. So the main tools to do this, I found, are meditation and breathwork. Okay, meditation is a great tool for starting to get you to, your life is vibrating chaotically. You start to meditate, start to quell those vibrations and bring them to a place of peace. We start to bring ourselves back to the origin of who we are, that perfect love and peace in a harmonious vibration. So I highly recommend starting some kind of meditation practice for even just 15 minutes a day. My number one tool for helping people work through the chaos of their lives and to bring more inner peace and ultimately more peace to their environment is breath work. The working with our breath is really working with our life force energy. And that life force energy is intelligent, it's powerful, it is the most powerful, it is the power of us. We possess this power, it brings us to life, it gives us the power to act, to think, and to behave. And so what is truly powerful about breathwork is the process of breathwork that I take people through really helps to dredge up all of this old chaotic energy within us, the old traumas, the unresolved experiences of our lives. It brings it up to help us move it on out, to integrate that energy. And as people get clearer and clearer, they start to feel more peaceful, again, start from a calm foundation. And then breath work as well as meditation really helps us align with our higher self, to get in touch with our higher self, to start getting our thoughts start to align with the thoughts of our higher nature rather than the thoughts of our lower nature, or our ego nature, that nature that wants to retaliate, that nature that wants to feel justified. And if we got slapped, then to slap the other person back twice as hard. So breath work is, to me, one of the most powerful things that we can do. Of course, that's what I teach. That's what I've been doing for the last 13 years. If you feel called to explore breath work to see how it can help you, please get in touch with me, either messaging me on Facebook or going to my website, breathflow.com, and filling out the contact form, and then we can have a conversation. But I want to just stress that this isn't a endeavor for the lighthearted. All right, peace is not Pollyanna. Peace is not weak. It takes great courage to attain peace. It takes courage to be able to be smacked down, and to get up again without retaliating. This we can learn from the nonviolent efforts in the past of Mahatma Gandhi, and especially of Martin Luther King Jr. These are two great leaders who have shown to us that there is the power to change. In fact, the only power to change is the power that keeps us in love and keeps us from stooping to the level of our antagonists by striking back when they strike us. And only in holding to that peaceful state, knowing what is right and knowing what changes need to happen, and moving forward, continuing to keep knocking at that door and saying, this is what needs to happen. As many times as they slam that door in the face, as many times as they throw rocks at you, as many times as they shoot bullets at you, that we stand up again and say, I'm not going to retaliate in the same manner, to show, to reflect the same behavior that I'm trying to overcome. This is, we have to do it from a different perspective. And so, let's see, my online session with you was fantastic. Highly recommended. Tammy's talking about breathwork. We just did a breathwork session the other day, and yes, it's powerful. And if you want more testimonials, again, feel free to contact me. I can provide you oodles and oodles of testimonials of people who have found power, found peace, found inner happiness through the process of breathwork. Stand for something and sit respectfully. Yeah, good. That's a great phrase to really sum it up. Stand for something. Know what's right in your heart, and then sit respectfully, meaning that you're not out there duking it out, but you are firmly saying, I'm not going to budge on this, but I'm not going to fight in a violent manner either. So with that, just think, what if you practiced these ways of peace and brought more tranquility in your life, brought more balance? How do you think your direct experience, not only of your immediate life, but of reflecting how the world looks, how do you think that's going to shift and change if you are coming from this place of peace rather than from this place of agitatedness? And then how do you think the world will change as you start to do this? As you see that your vibration goes out there and reflects. There was a great little GIF type of thing going around, where there was a whole bunch of emoticons, basically meanie faces or frowny faces, right? Frowny faces all around, and one in the middle, looks all around and then smiles. And then the ones immediately around that one kind of look at him, and then they start to smile. Then the ones immediately around all of those kind of look at those, and then they start to smile. And so this really is a great graphic to show how just one drop of, one pebble of peace in the ocean of life sends out ripples that start to affect affect the whole for the better. And that's the same if we choose to be negative. It's going to send out those same ripples. The good news is it appears from the perspective of many enlightened spiritual masters that one person, as Paramahansa Yogananda said, change yourself and you will change thousands. Whereas you change yourself for the positive, you've got an influence over thousands of people. And unfortunately, negativity doesn't have as strong of a hold on humanity. And Chad's tuning in, says, found you today. Good stuff. Excellent. I'm glad. And Chad, if you see the poll for Facebook and see if still looking like a couple people are saying Friday, one person saying Wednesday, one person saying Thursday. So right now, Friday's still winning, though we don't have a huge sampling, unfortunately. But of course, whatever day Facebook Live is on, we can always tune into the recordings afterwards. I put the recordings up on my YouTube page. Please subscribe to that if you haven't already. Or Christian Minson. They're also archived on my Facebook business page, Inhale Life /Breathflow. And so they're always available even if you can't catch me live. So with that, namaste to you all for this week. We'll tune in next week with with more diving deeper into soul topics and things to help improve your life and evolve you into greater fulfillment and peace.